Hello everyone, my name is Carson Smothers, and today I am going to be talking about visual principles in educational video design. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So why is it important to incorporate visuals? The objective of e-learning is to make a strong impact on learners and to facilitate learning. And visuals are essential for e-learning courses in order to keep learners engaged. Several studies have shown that learners respond to visual information faster than just text. Around 65% of the population is comprised of visual learners, and visual learning helps store information longer, making communication quicker and simpler. It aids comprehension and it drives motivation. I've incorporated a graphic on the side that has some facts about visual learning. So 65% of individuals learn best through visual means. The use of visuals has been found to improve learning by up to 400%. 90% of the information transmitted to the brain is visual, and then visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than text alone. The human brain also processes a vast amount of visual information rapidly, so up to 36,000 images per hour and 30 million bits of information per second through the eyes. Much of the learning is non-conscious, so posters, pictures, symbols, flip charts, videos, these can all help reinforce and solidify the content. The approach compensates for the diminishing effect of direct instruction over time, helping to solidify learning and increase retention. Here are some examples of visual learning, so videos, audios, graphics, maps, pictures, that sort of thing. So we're going to be talking about Richard Meyer's theory of multimedia learning. This theory provides guidelines for designing digital learning content that supports active cognitive processing without overwhelming the learners. There are 10 principles, which includes the multimedia principle, the modality principle, the redundancy principle, the coherence principle, the signaling principle, the contiguity principle, the segmenting principle, the image principle, the voice principle, and the personalization principle. And we will break those down. So number one is the multimedia principle. This involves using both images and words in order to make learning more effective. So not just words alone, but also incorporating visuals. In the classroom, whether this is an online classroom or the physical classroom, educators should incorporate relevant visuals such as diagrams, images, and animations with text to enhance comprehension. The picture on the right is a whiteboard animation tool, and this would be great for explaining processes to students. The second principle is the modality principle. So when speaking in a video or presentation, we want to limit the amount of text on the screen and instead use images to reinforce spoken words. So classroom application, this could look like narration and verbal explanations in addition to text. So we don't want to rely on just text alone. The third principle is the redundancy principle. And this involves limiting the combination of narration, graphics, and text simultaneously. So narration and graphics go well together. However, we want to avoid redundant text on the screen as this can lead to cognitive overload for our students. So we want to avoid reading directly from the slides or showing an image or a graphic in combination with explanation. This might lead to better retention. So on the right, you can see that the slide on the left actually has a picture of a honey and a picture of a bear, and it says bears enjoy honey, eating honey, and then the person is reading right from the slides. However, in order for this to be less redundant, we can put a picture of the bear, put a picture of the honey, and then we can just speak bears enjoy eating honey, and this will help solidify learning. The fourth principle is the coherence principle. This involves removing fluff from instructional materials. So taking out unnecessary or distracting content and instead just focusing on the essential information. So delivering content that is relevant to the objectives or the learning targets. The fifth principle is the signaling principle. We want to focus learners' attention on key points through visual cues. This could look like highlighted words, arrows, or zoom effects to emphasize important content. So classroom application, we want to use slides or diagrams with arrows directing a process. So in science, this would be good for photosynthesis or any of the other processes. I put a silly example on the right, but they are using arrows to show that the cat is wearing the hat. It's pointing to the cat and it's pointing to the hat, and you can actually see a box drawn around the hat, and this helps learners with gathering information. The sixth principle is the contiguity principle. So spatial contiguity is placing related images and text close together to show that they have a relationship. And then temporal contiguity is synchronizing audio narration with the corresponding visuals to maintain coherence. So classroom application might look like placing related items together to show connection and then providing immediate feedback. So if you look on the right, there's a good example of use of contiguity principle. Diagrams that include terms that are connected to their corresponding images. So instead of having A, B, C, D and labeling it like that, like on the left, you want to actually put it where the thing is located. And this helps with learning. The seventh principle is the segmenting principle. This involves displaying information in segments or chunks rather than all at once. So it allows the learners to control the pace of their learning. It also improves comprehension and retention. Classroom application would look like segmented videos that break down each step or process. So we want to provide learners with control over their own learning. If you can see on this picture on the right, in the first one, they are able to stop the video and kind of process. On the second one, they are not able to stop the video. And so they are taking all that information at once. The eighth principle is the image principle. So we're using relevant visuals instead of just talking to convey important information more effectively. Visual aids, diagrams, charts, and videos are all great. Classroom application would be picture prompts or visual problem solving. So you can actually see pictures showing this process instead of just someone talking through it. 9 is the voice principle. So this involves using a human voice rather than a computer-generated or AI voice for narration. This just makes the learning process more authentic and relatable. For the classroom, this might look like pausing for interactions, narrating visuals, and using apps such as Screencastify or Loom for e-learning. And then the 10th principle is the personalization principle. This means communicating in simple, casual style to make learners more comfortable. So we want to avoid lofty, complicated language and jargon. And classroom application would look like educational videos that have strong, clear, and concise narration with simple, relevant visuals to deliver the message effectively.